Good morning. This is some of the colorful open country of the Coconino National Forest, and I'm going to break here to talk an anime.
Spirit of Wonder, Miss China's Ring.
The whimsical sci-fi fantasy manga Spirit of Wonder was the basis of two anime releases a decade apart. Today I'm going to discuss the first of those anime from 1992, Miss China's Ring, also known as Miss China's Melancholy. When I was a kid, if you'll indulge an old man's recollections a moment, I used to like the old Disney cartoons of tall tales, such as how Paul Bunyan created the Great Lakes, or my personal favorite, The Ballad of Windwagon Smith. Spirit of Wonder is a tall tale in that tradition, fanciful, imaginative, and utterly absurd. It's set back in the 1950s, which is appropriate because its sci-fi aspects play like one of those old pulp short stories of the period. The lovely Miss China lives on the coast near the city of Bristol, where she owns and runs the Tenkai Chinese restaurant and bar. China is generally well-liked by all the locals and her seafaring customers alike, though she's a famously moody woman, alternately tough and sweet. She's quicker to resort to a martial arts kick rather than discussion to solve her problems. And she's prone to drowning her sorrows with her own liquor shelf. Above the restaurant, she has a few rooms she rents. Dr. Breckenridge is her most eccentric boarder, a scientist who invents outlandish gadgets that often don't work quite as intended, sometimes with explosive consequences. He's also always behind on his rent, provoking China to kick her way in with her collection demands. Perhaps his door wouldn't be such a patched and tattered mess if he just stopped locking it. Breckenridge has a young assistant, Jim, who's possibly the most sane member of the cast. Jim's day job is repairing clocks. He's sweet on China, who's also a little sweet on him, though their relationship hasn't gone much beyond a few uncertain, tentative glances. Spirit of Wonder moves more slowly than many anime. It's in no hurry to get to the point, and it's content to simply let these characters play out their wacky lives. It does, however, have a number of loud interruptions to the quiet mood each time Miss China loses her temper and decks someone, or something. All played strictly for humor, of course. Dr. Breckenridge's latest invention is something called the Reflective Dimension Telescope, and he's trying to convince investors that it can take them to the moon. But this invention is so insane, he can't even convince Miss China that it's interesting.
その奥のプレートの前に立っていてくれたまえ。あ、じゃあ驚いたかね。いかん、まだ安定しとらんのじゃ。
Spirit of Wonder has a capricious view of science, like old pulp sci-fi. It's not important if the science facts are right, just so long as they have a little truthiness to them. If it spins a good tale, facts are something that can be sidestepped. It seems unlikely that Pecos Bill ever lasted a tornado, or that John Henry dug a tunnel through the Rocky Mountains all by himself. But those stories are fun in the telling, too, if you set a spell and don't rush 'em. Miss China is a similar, simple story, with Jim planning a very special birthday present for China. It's told at a leisurely pace, with a lot of charm. Spirit of Wonder's three main characters are definitely exaggerated, but they're complicated enough in their emotions and relationships to be interesting, especially the title heroine, Miss China. Spirit of Wonder is based on a manga by Kenji Tsuruta. The start of the manga, including the Miss China's Melancholy story that's the basis of this anime, was translated and published in the US by Dark Horse, back a long time ago. It was mirrored to turn like an American book. One of the characters from the manga who also gets a brief appearance is Lily, the town's flower shop girl. She also fronts a black market operation for odd parts that Jim and Dr. Breckenridge need for their experiments. Why these parts can't be bought on the open market escapes me, but Lily flirts just enough with Jim during the purchases to make Miss China jealous. The anime was directed by Mitsuru Hongo, with a faithful screenplay by Michiro Shimada. The art is bright and detailed, with some lovely character designs taken from the manga. The animation is lovingly hand-drawn and smooth and fluid, without the cheats of many lesser OVAs of the period. It's a quality production. There's not a lot of music in this anime, and what there is pretty straightforward and generic. I give Spirit of Wonder, Miss China's Ring, 4 stars. It's an imaginative and charming tale, well told, and if you have the patience, it ought to put a smile on your face. The 40-minute OVA was released back in the 90s on subtitled VHS by Animego. A&N's database lists an English voice cast, though I've never heard the dub. Whatever, it's now out of print, and I'm clinging to my old Laserdiscs. A second Spirit of Wonder anime was released almost a decade later, and I will get to the Scientific Boys Club presently.
Thanks for listening. You know, if you watch the walk-on carefully, you may have noticed a moment when I had a kind of strange look on my face. That's because I heard a rattlesnake just off to the side there. So I'm going to walk off this way now.